Hey everyone, Desiree here. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I wanted to do something a little bit different than what I normally do. I'm going to share with you some vintage rings that sell for really good money. Now, if you are a jewelry reseller like I am, you know how important it is to be educated on the different types of jewelry that you can sell, hopefully for a profit. So with this video, I'm hoping that we can all learn something together and find out what is selling on eBay right now as it relates to vintage jewelry, specifically vintage rings. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. Now, this is my first time doing this, so please bear with me if something doesn't work like it's supposed to, but I think I can do it. So let's go ahead and get this started. All right, so I think that it is working. I'm going to move myself out of the way. But yeah, today we're going to talk about some vintage rings that sell for really big money. These are some recent listings that I found today on eBay. So everything is as current as it possibly could be. You know, when eBay shows you the most recent sold items, they are the items that were sold within the last 90 days. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the first one. All right, let me move myself out of the way. Now, this is something that is really fun and interesting and different for me. I love lucite, and I really love lucite jewelry. This is a vintage Carlo Pagani, I think it's called. Purple lucite MIR or Mirror Magic Intelligent Ring. This looks like it's from the 60s. This one is a size 7. It sold for $125. So now this is something that probably a lot of us would look at and would not consider it anything special. But when I saw this, I said I wanted to include this in this list because I think this is something that we should all be aware of, especially when it comes, when it concerns vintage jewelry, lucite in particular. So this is a real pretty one, and I wanted to share it. Again, that sold for $125. Next up, we have this vintage Florenza Laughing Devil. And I don't know if that's No or NOH, large figural ring. Now, this is something that's kind of creepy looking to me. It says that it sold for a best offer. Now, the asking price was $125, and I don't know exactly how much it sold for, but considering it was in the range of the other ring, I wanted to include it because this is something that I think a lot of us would probably notice, but we wouldn't know exactly what the value of it would be. So this is something definitely to look out for. Now, when you look at the back of this ring, see how it's adjustable? Now, when I see that, I instantly think that this is probably like a cheaper or low quality ring. But in this case, it is something that is worth looking into, something that is worth picking up, and you can probably flip for at least $100. Next up, we've got Bakelite. Now, I love Bakelite just like I like lucite, and I can see they use both words in the title here. This is vintage Bakelite, lucite, black, white, striped baby child mourning ring. This is a size 7. It sold for $129. Now, the interesting thing about this ring is that it could be classified as mourning jewelry. Now, that's another jewelry, I guess, type that I really like and I'm really getting into right now. And I do have some other mourning jewelry pieces that you will be seeing later on in the video. But this one is very different because it's not all black. You can see it's got some colors on there, and it also has a photograph of a child. This is what the ring looks like up close. So it's got that stripe design. Now, again, this ring sold for, I think it was $129. You know, you probably wouldn't look twice at something like this if you saw it at a garage sale, but now you know to pay attention to these lucite rings. Well, we've got some more Bakelite, one of my favorites. This is a lot of vintage dome rings, 12 rings, different sizes. It says excellent condition. This sold for $325. Now, again, I love Bakelite. As a matter of fact, I think I had a ring very similar to that cream colored one on the bottom. You know, Bakelite kind of, the prices kind of seem to be all over the place. But in this case, bakelite rings, which I don't see too much of, this can definitely be something that you want to keep your eye out for. Now, this type of ring also, a lot of people just like the material. They don't necessarily want the rings to wear, but a lot of people collect bakelite. So this is something that I think you should definitely know about. Now here's another morning jewelry piece. This says antique 9K gold. I think it's pronounced Georgian era souvenir morning braided hair ring, size 6. Now this sold for $450. Now if you look closely, yes, this ring has human hair on the inside, and then it has the word souvenir across the front. So this is probably hair that was from, a loved one that passed away. And for some people, that might be kind of creepy, but there are a lot of collectors of mourning jewelry. I'm kind of putting myself in that category because I'm just so fascinated by it. I always think about the stories, behind the pieces, and I don't know, this one just really intrigued me. And again, it was $450 is what it sold for on eBay. You can see here that, back in those days, from what I understand, is it was a very skilled jewelry maker who made mourning jewelry pieces. Like this wasn't like a very common skill. And so it was probably something that was very pricey for the family to make, especially one like this that has so much detail. So mourning jewelry, keep an eye out for it. Now, this is a fun one here. It says vintage art carved, solid 14K white and yellow gold diamond dancing bear ring. Now, this isn't something that you see every day. The little bear is so cute, and this is just something different. It doesn't really look like it's super old, but when you look at the bear, it kind of looks like it could have been a logo from maybe like a marketing, because it kind of looks like the Slurpee bear. I'm not sure if that's what this is, but it says it was the asking price was $475. They took a best offer, so I'm guessing probably around the $300 or $400 mark that this sold for. It's just a very interesting and fun piece, and I think that if I saw this, I probably wouldn't think that it would be worth that much. Here's the marking on the back. Now I think that says CTO, and I'm not sure if that's the designer or the artist or something. I don't know. But anyways, that's what it looks like. So now you know. Now, this is also another creepy piece. This says rare antique art nouveau solid 10 karat gold glass evil eyeball ring. This one is just kind of weird to me because it's so realistic looking. But this is something that people are fascinated with. People like the weird, the macabre, something that is just kind of strange and odd looking. And I think this definitely fits in that category. It's sold for $525. Now, the engraving on the back, it looks like it says A to H. So I'm guessing this was personalized in some way. Maybe it was a gift to someone. I'm not quite sure, but I think that kind of makes it more valuable. Now, here is another mourning jewelry piece, another mourning ring. This one is from the 1840s. It's an antique, 14 karat yellow gold mourning ring with glass crystal portrait, 5.1 grams. Now, this is something that I honestly probably would not look twice at. Maybe if I saw it in a jewelry case, I might asked to look at it closely, and then maybe if I felt it, I could feel that it was, maybe real gold or something like that. But if you look at the, I guess the front of the ring, you can see that it actually has some cracks in it and some scratches, and then the portrait is very, very faded. But again, this is something that's really, really old. So, the condition obviously is not going to be the greatest, but I think that there is something very interesting, something very dark about these types of pieces, and that's why they attract so much attention and so many people collect them. This one sold for $550. Oh, and this is the back. Look at that inscription there. Now, it looks like it says 1841. I'm not quite sure, but it's just a very well-made, well-constructed ring. Now, as I was going through all of the rings and as I was doing my research, I learned that a lot of pieces that have any type of snake or serpent, theme to it tends to sell for a lot of money. And this was one of the ones that I saw. Now, this one says it's vintage, 18 karat yellow gold enamel snake serpent cocktail ring. And it sold for $635. And that was the winning bid. And if you see here, it looks like it got 21 bids on there. Now, like I said, any type of snake or serpent jewelry seems to do really, really well. But this isn't necessarily a pretty ring, but it's something that's really unique and different. And this is what the back looks like. You can see the markings on it. And I don't know, just something about it just seems very odd, but it sold for $600. Now, I saw this ring and it was just so pretty. I love the construction of this. This says it's a pearl ring, vintage ballerina quartz, 18 karat white gold, retro period estate jewelry. This sold for $795. Look at the gorgeousness on this ring. That pearl is immaculate, and the settings and the design and the style of this ring is just everything. I absolutely love it. I actually think it should sell for more than $800, but I don't know. But this is the silhouette of the ring. Look at the raised style. And I mean, everything about this ring is just gorgeous to me. I love it. I think that this is definitely a collectible piece. So if you see something out there that looks like this, you better grab it. Now, this is an antique Victorian 14 karat yellow gold, and I think you pronounce that guilloche. I'm not sure. Feel free to correct me if I said it wrong. But this is a blue enamel flower design oval ring. Now, I swear I have seen these rings in bulk jewelry lots that I have purchased. I mean, I don't know if it was an antique like this, but this type of ring, I tend to see the style of it quite frequently. And of course, it could be a reproduction, could be a more modern thing, something made to look old. But when you look at the detail on this, you can see when you look up close that there is a lot of detail in the flower and in the little circles and everything, and in the coloring as well. This one sold for $850. It's an absolutely beautiful ring. The colors are magnificent. I really like it. If I saw this, I probably would end up keeping it for myself. And there's the back. All right, now this is something I had never seen before. This is a large articulated sterling silver armor shield ring, Viking goth. So it looks like it is a suit of armor made into a ring. This is something that I can see being a highly collectible piece because, like I said, I've never seen anything like this ever. It's not something that's very common. I don't even think I've seen people wear this kind of stuff like at, Ren fairs or anything like that. But this is just so different. And this is just so, it's like, where would you really wear this other than to like a festival or something like that? But this is what the back looks like, and it's got hinges on it so you can, bend the finger. I don't know. This is just amazing. I can't remember what it sold for. Was it 850 somewhere in there? So that's just something that, like I said, I had never seen, and it sold for almost $1,000. I just think that's just different. Okay, so the next one we have is a vintage hand-carved Mediterranean coral cameo with diamonds 18 karat gold ring. Now, the reason why I added this into my list is because I had never seen a coral cameo before. I had seen cameos in like the ivory color, but I'd never seen one in this kind of orangey coral color. And you can see the carving is very intricate and detailed. This sold for almost $1,000. I'm guessing it says the best offer was accepted, but it is a beautiful ring. Now, I know cameos are highly collectible. People You know, they're very sought after pieces. So I'm actually surprised that this one didn't go for a little bit more. And look at the back. Just absolutely beautiful. You can tell that it's very well made. Now, this is a ring that kind of threw me off a little bit. Let's hope I can pronounce the name. Is it Frascarolo Milano enameled tiger cocktail ring in 18 karat yellow gold with rubies. Now, when you look at the enamel on this, it doesn't look like it's very neat. As a matter of fact, it looks like it's very sloppily done, in my opinion. But sometimes these types of pieces are highly desirable, such as this one was. It sold for $999. It had 4 bids on there. Oops. That is the back. That's the marking on there. But this ring, like I said, it wasn't anything special, and it wasn't something that I thought was really well done. But I guess maybe this particular artist, you know, his work is highly sought after. But again, it's something to, you know, pay attention to and be aware of. Now, here is another what I thought was a cameo, but when I read the title, you can see that this is a antique Georgian period amethyst glass intaglio seal. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Intaglio, mounted in 14 karat ring, 10 grams, size 6. But again, look at the detail on this ring. So this is not a cameo. This is something very different. And I'm kind of learning the subtle differences between the two. But you can see this sold for $1,250. That's crazy, you know, and you can tell that this ring is very, very old. But the colors are beautiful. And again, this is made of amethyst glass. So it's got a purple hue to it. And you can see the back there. The way the ring is made, you know, it doesn't have a backing on it, and I'm guessing that's to kind of let the light shine through the glass, so it's kind of reflective in that way. But I would worry that the glass would break, but I'm not sure if it's treated or something like that. But you can see it's a very beautiful ring. Oh, now this is something that I thought was really, really fun, and again, really, really different. This is a 14K large angel skin coral flower cocktail ring. Now, I had never heard of angel skin coral, but I guess it's a thing. I'm not sure if that's the color because this is kind of a skin tone peachy color, or if it's referring to something else. But it's a beautiful ring. Now you can see that this looks like it was hand carved because of the detail, and you can see it's got minor imperfections. But what I'm learning about some of these rings is that, you know, the imperfections actually are what makes the ring highly desirable, because either it indicates that it was handmade or hand designed, or it indicates that the ring does have some age, or it also tells you the type of material that the ring is made out of, because some material is more difficult to work with. So it has to be done by hand, and it couldn't be, you know, it couldn't be carved or designed using certain tools. So I've been learning that about certain materials as it relates to antique and vintage jewelry. So this is a beautiful ring. And if you look at this, you can see the size and how large it is. But I mean, this just looks like a real flower. It looks, you know, like it's just an actual flower sitting on your hand. And that color is very beautiful because that peachy tone, kind of orangey, coralish color is flattering on all skin tones. Now, this is something that I think we all should pay attention to, class rings. This is a 1970 University of Massachusetts 10 karat white gold class ring, 1970. That's so crazy. It says UMass Amherst, so I'm guessing that's the school. But, you know, how many of us have class rings, you know, or maybe we've seen them at the thrift store or at a garage sale or something, and maybe we didn't really, you know, pay attention to them. But this one sold for $1,398. And I don't know if I said the price on the last on the last ring. I apologize if I missed that. But this ring sold for almost $1,400. And you can see that this is a big, bold ring. Now, Class rings, what I'm also learning is that these are highly collectible because for a lot of people, these rings are their alma maters, or maybe like someone significant in their family went to this school, like, maybe a parent or, a spouse or a loved one or something like that. Now, the other thing about these rings is that they are usually made, with solid gold. And so a lot of people like to buy them because they like to melt them down or, scrap them or whatever. But I just thought this one, man, this one is, I mean, it looks huge. And even in the description, they say it's a big, bold, and heavy ring. So this is the marking inside there. Now, I remember when I went to high school, I remember I think it's pronounced Jostin. We would get those catalogs, the Jostin ring, so you can order your class ring, in time so you'd have it for graduation. But yeah, so that's something that we all need to look out for, class rings, because they they can sell for $1,400. All right, now this is another showstopper piece here. This is French E Dropsy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Art Nouveau made in iris 14 karat gold ring. Now look at this. This just looks stunning. I mean, it looks like it was stamped on there. I'm not sure how this is made or how this was made, if it was hand carved or if a machine did it, but because it's old, I don't know. I have no idea. And I don't know anything about this artist, E. Dropsy, but this one sold for a best offer. The asking price was $1,999.99. But this ring is just beautiful. I mean, I probably would be afraid to wear it out just because it looks like it's very delicate. And you can see that I'm not sure if those are diamonds in her necklace or in her neckwear. But it's just a very beautiful ring. This is something, again, that's definitely a collector piece. And this is what the back looks like here. Now, I didn't do a close-up of the marking or the signature on this ring, but the listing said that it was signed. So I'm guessing if you do see a E Dropsy piece, you would know because it would have a signature on it. Oh, now this one is one of my favorites. Let me move move myself. This is a Kurt Wade 1969 octopus ring, 18 karat yellow gold, ruby eyes, 3D large, size 7¼ and this is a vintage piece, 1969. Look at the detail on this ring. This is absolutely phenomenal. Now, this is definitely not my taste, but again, as I was doing my research, I realized that a lot of the real kind of gaudy, loud pieces of jewelry are definitely something that people want, something that people are searching for. And I think because way back when, at least from my research, what I had learned is like jewelry makers, they had customers that wanted to show off that they could afford jewelry pieces or that they had jewelry. So they wanted big, noticeable pieces, and they wanted people to notice that they were wearing something, big and loud like this. So this is one of those pieces that's definitely a conversation starter. And I think I have a picture of it close up. But I mean, this thing is just huge. And you can see down at the bottom how big it would be on the hand. Again, like I said, people would definitely notice this. And the octopus is interesting too. I'm wondering if that has some type of symbolism behind it as well. A lot of these animals, it's like with the serpent or the snake, it's not just about the animal, but it's also about the symbolism of the animal. So I'm wondering if this has something significant either to the designer himself or maybe during the time period when this ring was made. And you can see the signature there. It also has the year, which is very interesting and helpful to those of us who are looking for pieces like this. But this is just, like I said, this is a showstopper piece. It's amazing, it's breathtaking, and I really like it. Okay, so next up we have the antique Roman BC Julius Caesar Venus poison ring. Now, a poison ring is something that is also highly collectible. I learned that by watching Dr. Lori. Now, if you're not familiar with what a poison ring is, it is a ring that actually has a little tiny hidden compartment, and I have that on the next slide. Now, the asking price for this ring was $5,000. They took a best offer, so I'm guessing it has to be at least several thousand, somewhere in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. And these rings are, like Dr. Lori said, they are highly collectible. Now, if you look at the description here, it says antique before Christ. I'm not sure, how accurate or what that means, but obviously this ring is very old. And here is what the little hidden compartment looks like. Now, someone told me back in the olden days, I'm not sure if this is true, but they used to hide poison. I don't know, maybe like, what did they have back then? Arsenic or something? I don't know, and they would put it in their ring. Someone else told me that it wasn't necessarily poison, but that they used to put cocaine in there. So I don't know, but again, it's fascinating to see this. I would love to take a look at this in person and see how it's constructed and how it's made. But again, this is something you need to look out for because this one sold for almost $5,000. Finally, this is my last piece, and I want to share this because this one is fun. This is a 1982 Mickey Mouse 14 karat gold Zuni ring by Victoria Poblano. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Now, this ring sold for $9,000. That is so crazy to me. And this is a Mickey Mouse ring from 1982, so it's not that old, but obviously it is vintage. Now, when you look at this, at first glance, yeah, you would say it's Mickey Mouse, but it doesn't look, like, an actual Disney piece. So I'm guessing this is like an inspired piece, or maybe it was a piece that was commissioned, by Disney, by this particular designer. But how many of us would look at this at the thrift store and maybe we would say, oh yeah, that's a pretty piece. I would definitely like that. But would we think that this is something that's worth $9,000? I know I wouldn't. So, when you see pieces like this, like you really want to take your time looking at them because it does have some enamel, but I'm also seeing some type of overlay on the top part, but I can't quite make out what it is. So, but it's interesting and I wanted to share it. And I think I have a picture of the back here that has the signature, and it also has 14 karat stamped on it. And then you can see it has a double band, and it doesn't look like it's that big either. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed looking at these vintage rings with me. I hope you learned something. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and, leave a comment, ask a question down below. Because if you really did enjoy these videos, I would love to make more of them because this was definitely a research lesson for me. So I want to thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I will make sure to check back in really soon.